Good morning, everybody. At this time, I'm going to call the July 2023 North Carolina Apco chapter meeting to order.
Your PSAP deserves a smarter partner. AT&T has been making public safety history for over 140 years. And when seconds count, experience counts the most. Today, our 911 experience is unrivaled. With advanced security, connectivity, and routing, AT&T ESINet service will help you modernize and transform to NG 911 emergency communication. AT&T ESINet service is the smarter partner, and smarter is safer.
Carolina Recording Systems partners with public safety in supporting our everyday heroes, one recording at a time. Our sole focus on service and support helps navigate the rapidly changing technologies, taking the worry out of your critical incident logging. At Carolina Recording Systems, we are creating unparalleled partnerships through our service and innovation. From our family to yours, we thank you for all you do.
We understand the importance of what you do.
911, what's your emergency, please?
All right, at this time, I'd like to ask Major Matt Truitt with the High Point Police Department to come up and welcome you to High Point.
Good morning, and on behalf of the City of High Point and High Point Police Department, I would like to welcome all of you here and thank you. From my understanding, this is the second year in a row that Apco has came to High Point, so thank you for choosing us to host again. So Kyle Thaggart, the manager with the City of High Point 911, he asked me to do a little opening, and he was kind of explaining to me what Apco was, and he gave me a 30-minute timeline to stand up here for a welcome. So to keep me on point, I made just a couple little bullet points. So I understand that Apco, in my research, almost 90 years, you've really been the industry standard for being the voice for communicators. And when I think of what the industry standard is, the industry standard that I go by is High Point 911, because that's what I know. And these folks that serve High Point 911, we are housed in the same building, but we're really two separate entities. However, one cannot operate without the other. So I'm very thankful for High Point 911 and the relationship that we have and how we continue to build upon that. But one thing I think that really stands out about High Point 911 is the dedication that they have to our citizens and those who call in, those that's on the other line, but also the dedication that they have to the officers, to the firefighters, to the paramedics, all those that are being dispatched through there. So I am thankful for them, and I would put them up against any communications throughout the country. I really would. And then second of all, really getting to know Kyle. I saw several of you all at our police department yesterday, and I'm sure you went upstairs to the third floor to where communications is. And really, the innovation, the design, and the thought process that you see and what I would call a cutting-edge communications center is really attributed to Kyle. And I was able to work on the police department building project side and able to work with Kyle on that. So I was really thankful to be able to get to know him and learn more exactly what communications does. But on another level that I've been able to do and find out more about High Point 911, does every organization represented, do you have, I get the simplest term would be a communications committee? Does everybody have that? Okay. What's that? Okay. So I don't know how long ago this was created, but when I was promoted to captain in 2021, I ended up taking over our communications committee. And what that is, that's a group of officers and employees from the police department, sworn and non-sworn, from different divisions and units that kindly represent a voice on the police department side. But the unique portion of that is we also have representatives from High Point 911, and we all form a committee. And you all that's communicators, you know just how needy our folks are that are in uniform. Yes. So, of course, when we have these quarterly meetings, the police come in and they have a long list of, how communications can operate better. How can we operate better as an agency? And then really, High Point 911, they have like 2 things on their list typically. But really what it comes down to is we are able to discuss and go over issues, if you want to call them that, and really it comes down to pettiness that can be fixed very simply. But the relationship that we have with High Point 911 and the police department, we do work as a cohesive unit and continue to build upon that relationship. I really think from those quarterly meetings and being able to be a part of what the police department does and then also what communications does. So that's my little 3 points, and I just wanted to once again say thank you to each and every one of you being here and for once again letting High Point host this for the 2nd year. I hope you enjoy your stay here.
Thank you, Major Truitt. All right, at this time, we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to recognize our 2023 corporate partners, Motorola, AT&T, Carolina Recording System, and Horizon Console. At this time, I'd like to introduce the board. I am Herman Weiss, your current president. Christine Moore is the immediate past president. She is on vacation. Shante Lipscomb, your first vice president. Chad Dees, your second vice president. Missy Zell, secretary. Lori Laughlin, treasurer. Gerald Anderson, she is also on vacation. Melanie Jones, your North Carolina board representative. I'm not sure if Anna Johnson is remoted in. She was not able to be with us, nor was Marissa Allwaters. Josh Benfield, Region C. Samantha Dutch, Region E. Story McIntyre, Region F. Gary Laughlin was not able to be with us today. Grace Ngusa, our chapter historian and PIO, and Janet King was not able to be with us either from Compassionate Care. And Jackie Zell, Region C. This time I would like to recognize the following groups, if you'd please stand to be recognized. Any past North Carolina Apco chapter presidents? North Carolina Apco chapter life members. Apco International senior members. Apco International life members. Registered Public Safety Leaders, RPLs. Certified Public Safety Executives, CPEs. Any of our corporate partners here today? And first-time attendees. Anybody first time? If you'll please remain standing, we've got a little gift for you. The meeting minutes were posted on the website. At this time, I'll need a motion to approve the minutes. Motion. I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second. All in favor? Any opposed? So moved. At this time, I would like to ask Chad Dees and Jackie Zell to please come to the front for swearing in. Just up front somewhere. If you will please raise your right hand for the oath of office. You have been duly elected or appointed to the position which you are about to serve. By this selection, you have been invested with the power of North Carolina chapter of Apco. It bestows you its confidence, trust, and places in your hands the duty of your office as established. Do you, under God, under country, and before these witnesses, hereby accept this power, this responsibility, this confidence, this trust, these established duties, and solemnly swear to uphold, protect, and execute to the best of your abilities the aims and objectives of the North Carolina chapter of Association of Public Safety Communications Officials? You will signal by saying, "I do." So be it. I now pronounce you duly established in your office of North Carolina Apco. We are going to skip the commercial advisory report. Ryan's going to do that in his part of the meeting. We will jump into the compassionate care. Since the last meeting, North Carolina Apco has sent out 7 cards. 4 were due to death, 2 were due to retirement, and 1 was mailed due to battling health issues. Janet King could not be here, but she asked that if you do know somebody that needs a card, something that's happened to somebody, please reach out to a board member with their address, and we will get a card sent to them. I will now call on Chad Dees to read the Executive Council report.
All right, guys, it's 4 pages, so bear with me. As a reminder, tier group membership dues has increased from $96 to $100. Membership levels 1 through 4 and tiers 1 and 2 will also see dues increase in costs. After an exhaustive and competitive nationwide search involving more than 200 applicants, the Association of Public Safety Communication Officials International, APCO, is proud to announce the appointment of Mr. Melvin Mayer as its new executive director. Mayer currently serves as APCO's Chief Technology Officer and brings more than 33 years of dedicated public safety service to his new role. He worked as a law enforcement officer for 32 years and was captain and chief of the Public Safety Communications of Oakland County Sheriff's Office before joining APCO in March of 2022. At Oakland County, Mayer led a staff of more than 90 employees and managed a budget in excess of $11 million. Mr. Mayer previously served as the Vice Chair of the FirstNet Public Safety Advisory Committee, Chair of the Funding and Sustainment Committee at SAFECOM, and was the founding member of Next Generation 911 Coalition, of which he is still the current chair. Mayer will work with the current Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Derek Porch, over the next several months to ensure a smooth transition. Mr. Porch, who announced his departure as Apco's Executive Director and CEO in January, will retain the title and responsibilities of CEO, while Mayor will assume the title of Executive Director. Mr. Porch's departure, Mayor will assume both titles and full responsibility of the day-to-day operations of the association. Apco responds to proposed rules on 988 outage reporting on June the 6th. Apco filed replied comments with the Federal Communications Commission regarding proposed rules to require service providers to notify certain 988 stakeholders when an outage occurs that impacts 988 service. Apco suggested that the 911 center should be given the opportunity to opt in to receive notifications about outages impacting 988 service. With regard to the appropriate content and format of the 988 outage notifications, Apco offered insights based on the experience with 911 outage notifications, including that the current thresholds for triggering an outage notification are too high and that the visual representations of the outage would improve substantial awareness. Apco requests to weaken FCC rules on 911 outage notification. On June the 26th, Apco filed an opposition to a petition filed by the Competitive Carriers Association asking that FCC to reconsider their recent adopted rules regarding the notification service providers are required to send emergency communication centers when a 911 outage occurs. Among other things, CCA asked that rather than requiring service providers to notify ECCs within 30 minutes of discovering an outage, the FCC should give service providers more flexibility in how quickly they notify the ECCs. In its opposition, Apco explained that the FCC had already addressed CCA's arguments, and when it adopted the rules and reiterated the importance of service providers promptly notifying 911 centers of outages that may impact them. Apco proudly supports and trains a select group of LMR professionals called AFC Local Advisors who dedicate their time and their effort to assist public safety agencies and licensees as their Part 90 licensing questions and assist in securing radio channels. Apco AFC conducts an annual in-person training for FCC rule changes and coordination standards. This year, the training will take place on August the 7th in conjunction with the Apco annual conference. There will be presentations by AFC staff and FCC. Training and certification. In June, Apco and Telecom exhibited two conferences, the National Emergency Number Association Nena Conference in Grapevine, Texas on June the 17th through the 22nd, and the National Sheriff's Association Conference in Grand Rapids on June the 26th through the 29th. Preparations for exhibiting and delivering live demonstrations of in telecom at Apco 23 in August are in progress. Recruitment continued for operations, technical, and training subcommittees under standard developments. Memberships as effective June the 1st of 2023, associates numbers are 1,976, full members 3,986, full group members 9,100, online group members 23,400, commercial 441, commercial group members 287. Total member numbers is 39,190. The total group membership agencies is 1,564, and the total commercial groups is 40. Event and corporate outreach, Apco 2023. Apco 2023. There are currently 2,447 people registered versus 1,929 registrants at a comparable period 7 weeks out from the 2022 conference. Pre-orders opened for conference t-shirts but are now closed. A number of this year's t-shirts designed by our very own Ms. Shante will be available for sale at the conference. Invitations also went out for the Executive Council reception, which takes place on August the 4th from 5:30 to 9:30 at the Grand Ole Opry. Exhibit sales as of 6:30 of 2023 for a 10 by 10 booths, there's 641. The number of exhibitors is 249, and the number of new exhibitors is 50. That completes.
Thank you, Chad. I'll now call on Grace and Gusa for the historian report.
So in keeping with tradition of Randy Surratt, I will not be giving a 20-minute report today. Just the only update I have to share is we are actively working on one additional life member from North Carolina. For those who don't know, there are currently 6 Apco International Life members from North Carolina, Tony being one of them that's here with us today. But we hope to be adding at least one more, and that will be taking place next year in Orlando in 2024. And that's my only report, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir. I'll now call on Ms. Melanie Jones for the 911 board report and updates.
Good morning. The 911 board hasn't met in 3 months, so I really don't have a report to give for them. The education committee met yesterday, and that's been the only committee meeting, I think, for the last 3 months as well. The only thing I will add, if you are not currently getting notified of the meetings and committee meetings, they do have a way to sign up on the site to do that. So if you want to get notified about those, please go to the 911 website, DIT, and sign up to get them. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. I'll now call on Shantae Lipscomb for the training report for Gerald.
Okay, good morning, everyone. If you wish to host a class or would like to see certain topics offered in the classroom format or online format, please contact Gerald Anderson via email. The following training opportunities are available. Davie County 911 is hosting an Apco CTO course August 14th through August 16th. High Point 911 is hosting an Apco CTO course August 25th through the 27th. The 2023 Telecommunicator Training Symposium will be held December 3rd through the 6th at the Embassy Suites in Greensboro. The call for presentations is now open and will close on Sunday, September 10th at 11:45 p.m. We are looking for sessions for our line telecommunicators, trainings, and supervisors. In addition, we will need a keynote speaker for our opening event and a few 2-hour presentations for our super sessions. Please send in your presentation topics today. Effective July 1, 2022, all telecommunicators are required to have 40 hours of telecommunicator training. As a reminder, if you work for a municipality or your communication center is run by a sheriff, your agency is required to have your communication staff go through the telecommunicator certification course. All other agencies can choose to do the telecommunicator certification course or other telecommunicator training that is equal to a minimum of 40 hours. Today is July 21st, 2023. You have 5 months and 10 days to finish your 2023 telecommunicator in-service training. If you do the training in-house, the training lesson plans, PowerPoints, and handouts are available through the North Carolina Justice Academy bookstore. It is required for those TCs that work under the direction of a sheriff and beginning on July 1, 2022, work for a municipality to become telecommunicator certified through the Sheriff Standards North Carolina Telecommunicator Certification course. It is required for all staff hired on or before June 30th of the given year. If you do not do the classes in-house, you can get it online from Richmond Community College, Alamance Community College, or the North Carolina Justice Academy. Instructors, remember you must successfully test out of a class to teach it. Also, if you are an instructor, do not forget to go to the North Carolina Justice Academy website training portal and do your annual instructor update class. This is how you will keep your general instructor certification. The 2023 Telecommunicator in-service has 6 lesson plans that are mandatory to complete the required 16 hours and then 3 other choice lesson plans for the total of 6 hours. Be sure your staff does the 6 lesson plans that are mandatory to satisfy the certification in-service requirement. Just a reminder that bears repeating. Your North Carolina General Instructor Certification renewal, once completed, is tracked when you complete the annual mandatory 1-hour training online through the North Carolina Justice Academy training portal. This training is new each year and takes no time to complete. If you fail to do so, your GI certification will be revoked. You no longer need to fill out the old forms and send them in to renew. Your certification will automatically renew. If you need to renew your general instructor certification, be sure to send in the required documents within the month that you expire. If you fail to complete this process, your certification will lapse. Instructors are responsible for maintaining their own certifications and documents and providing school directors with those certificates if required. Sheriff Standards will only send instructor certificates to the instructors themselves. Reminder emails do not get sent out. It is our chapter's goal to continue to provide quality training for our members across the state at a cost-effective. We thank you for your support and efforts by attending the training, and we only want to widen our efforts. That concludes the report, Mr. President.
Thank you. I'll now call on Lori Laughlin for our treasurer's report.
Good morning. In our main checking account, we have $1,992.80. In our symposium account, we have $3,803.02. The scholarship account has $1,307. Money market account has $92,193.80 for a total of $99,296.62. That's my report.
Thank you, ma'am. I will now call on Ms. LaVonda Fowler for the Siege's report. Take your time.
That's what happens when you're on the back row. I'm Steve today, so I'll give an update on what Siegen's been doing. We've got several irons in the fire. Our biggest one is the domestic violence project that we have going, which has now been renamed the Siegen GPS Electronic Monitoring Program, and they'll be speaking today, so I won't steal their thunder. They can answer any questions on how it's actually run and all of that sort of thing. We're dealing with the budget like everyone else, waiting as that goes on, seeing what we need to do with the legislature. We're working to be part of a study for a mobile driver's license for the state and figuring out how that's going to actually impact not only you all, but law enforcement and sheriffs and others as that moves forward from a national level. And then we're doing all of the other things as far as e-courts and that sort of stuff that is being a part of the new Odyssey program is while that's being piloted. So we got a lot of things going on. And if anybody has any specific questions, I'm happy to try and answer those. But for the most part, I want to say thank you for letting us come and present, and thanks for letting me be Steve today. So that concludes, unless anybody has any questions. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, ma'am. I will call on next Ms. Melanie Jones for the agency interoperability.
Thank you. Lewis was not able to be here today. He and his staff were absolutely covered up with BDA testing because of the change in the law last year. He had two things that he wanted me to share. One was the CISA cyber tools. Each state has a cybersecurity coordinator, or CSC, and at least one cybersecurity advisor, or CSA. CISA cybersecurity personnel can work with the state and local agencies for on-site training and assessments. The CISA website has a significant number of documents to help prepare for, respond to, and mitigate the impact of cyber attacks. If you need more information, please reach out to the CISA ECC Pam Montanari, and she can work with you, and that is at CISA.gov. Also, SafeCom's nationwide survey has been sent out. If you have not responded and filled out that survey, please do so. Greg Hauser actually resent it out to us, so if you've not done that for your organization, please do so. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, now we will go into our regional ambassador reports. I'm not sure if Anna is on Zoom for Region A. Okay. Marissa Allwaters for Region B. I'm not sure if you're online. Okay. Jackie Ezell for Region C. Do you have anything?
Travis with Harnett County reports they have 3 new hires that have completed their training academy and currently on the floor doing their training. They have 3 open TC positions that are full-time, also hiring part-time status. Anyone interested can apply on the county website or reach out to him. Tiffany Blackman was recently promoted to shift supervisor on June the 16th. They recently implemented the Prepared Live with great success so far. They're in the beginning stages of replacing their console furniture and hope to have that completed by this year. They recently added an additional admin line that will directly go into the communication center and bypass the automated attendant. The number is 910-893-0285. It's not for public use only, it's only for communication centers. Also, for Pender County, the county manager and commissioners graciously approved 3 new positions for the 911 center this year, also a supervisor position. So I posted last week 4 telecommunicators positions. We should be promoting the supervisor within the next 2 weeks. Also, we're in the plans of a new law enforcement center that'll include a law enforcement center, detention center, and a larger communication center. And hopefully that'll be finished by 2026. I'm sorry. That's the end of it.
Thank you. Josh Benfield for Region D.
Good morning. Jason Wood with Rockingham County is reporting that they have moved to the Viper 3 hostess system in March, and they currently there are currently 7 positions down in the center. Melanie Jones with Guilford Metro, they currently have 17 positions, and is saying that the radio shop has completed an upgrade to the radio system in May, and everything went very well with that. They have finalized, they have selected their new CAD vendor and currently in contract negotiations. They'll have a new position hopefully posted in August for a new training specialist, recruitment officer, or PRT professional. It will be posted externally as well as internally and hope to have that person in place by October at the latest. Kyle with High Point currently has 5 vacancies and 4 in training. They would like to congratulate Kate Brett, Anthony Costanzo, and Justin Gross on completing the basic telecommunicator training. Also saying that anyone with prior experience interested in a position with High Point can reach out to Missy Hogan at missy.hogan@highpointnc.gov, or prospective candidates can visit highpointnc.gov and search for jobs for more information. And Caswell County is currently 1 position down. They've also implemented Prepared Live in June and in the process of implementing Rapid SOS Premium. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Josh. Samantha Dutch for Region E.
Kelly Alvarez with Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department reports that they have 15 vacancies with 11 conditional offers out and interviews scheduled throughout the next few weeks to hopefully find the last 4 candidates. She says that this is extreme progress given the over 50 vacancies that they had in 2021 and 2022. They also have Sheriff Standards TCC courses fully booked for July, August, and September. Susan Davis with Mooresville Police Department states that they are looking for 2 telecommunicators. And to apply, you can visit mooresvillenc.gov. And with Scotland County Communications, we currently have 2 vacancies for telecommunicators. We had 3 new hires that started just this past Monday. Megan Bristow was recently promoted to shift supervisor for D shift. And we are on the last leg of our Viper radio project with portables having been delivered just yesterday. So now we're working on the scheduling for installing mobiles, and then we'll be going live. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, Story McIntyre for Region F.
Good morning. Alexander County, Mr. Greg Foster reports that they currently have no vacancies. I had to read that 3 times when he sent it. They only have one telecommunicator was just released from training. Their console furniture for their backup finally arrived and is being installed at this moment. Replacement radio project is underway and hopefully will go out for bids in the upcoming months. They had a little praise report on the night of July 15th. Greg reports that around 11 o'clock they had a flooding heavy rain event, and one of their TCs received a single 911 call from a male stating that he could hear another male screaming for help. Telecommunicators jumped in. The caller had no idea where the victim was located, and they all jumped in and used their technology to locate the caller. Later in the call, it was determined that the male was clinging to a tree approximately 5 to 10 feet above swift-moving floodwaters, and TCs were able to map that location and send help to the victim. It was discovered that the vehicle had actually gone downstream, and both parties were swept away in the process. The male victim was able to be rescued with only minor injuries. Unfortunately, the female was located a couple of days later downstream and was sadly deceased. But he does give credit to his team for the fact that that male is alive today. He also reports that their new county manager is in place and that things are going well. From Henderson County, Lisha Stanley is reporting that all her full-time positions are currently filled as well, but they are accepting applications for part-time. They are currently working with Southern Software and Zetron to implement fire station alerting system that will include automated voice dispatch. And the best part of her message was that next week is her last week. She will be retiring at the end of next week, and their current PIO, Johnny Duncan, will be taking her position. So congratulations to Lisha on her retirement from communications. From Burke County, Heather Joyner, and I saw her sneak in there in the back. She reports out that they do have a shift supervisor vacancy and a telecommunicator 2 vacancy. Ongoing projects with the county include launching the Freedom app for responders of law, fire, and medical. They will be hosting upcoming training of North Carolina Sheriff Standards Basic Telecommunicator Certification course this fall at Western Piedmont Community College, with dates to be determined and announced soon. Success stories: Burke County is advised they were approved this fiscal year. This is great news. They were approved this fiscal year to budget all of their telecommunicators to receive both Apco and Nena standing memberships. So there will be a total of 41 new memberships for both associations for this fiscal year. Employee recognition: night shift ops manager Tyler Nelson and training coordinator Chrissy Buchanan completed and obtained their general instructor certifications last week, so congratulations to both of them. From Henderson PD, Amber, how do I say that? Kleppe, okay, and Amber Kleppe. She says that as far as she knows, there's not much to report. For the first time in 3 years, they are also fully staffed and almost busting at the seams, and by that she means they have a reserve that's wanting to come on full time. Before COVID, this was the norm, and it's taken them almost 3 years to get back to normal. Rutherford County, Scott Scheffelbaum has reported they have 3 full-time vacancies, and you can go to their website to apply, Rutherford County, North Carolina Gov, under the Communications Employment. They're currently looking at purchasing a new CAD system with Soma Global. No individual praise reports, but he wanted to take a moment to thank his entire team for the conditions that they've worked in during short staffing and vacations, and the teamwork that they've exhibited to get them through the summer months. For Cleveland County, we currently have 2 open positions. We just completed full implementation of auto voice dispatch fire station alerting with Motorola and Mock Alert. It has been a very successful program for both fire and EMS dispatch for our agency. We've been busy working on our upcoming PSAP assessment that's scheduled for the 1st of August. And Brian Short's in the back. I've got some gray hairs that you look like you need. So we've been busy working on that as well as several of our local counties around us as well. We've also entered the DD phase of our new center design and look to put that construction out to bid hopefully in late November. For those of you that do not know, Cleveland County is also building, much like Pender County, in the process of building a new public safety and justice complex, as well as a 911 center. So if you come to visit us, there's a lot of construction, no parking, and it's quite the mess. So hopefully we'll be up and running in the new center by the end of 2025. And that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I was also told that we do have Anna Johnson online through Zoom. Anna?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. The only thing I have to report is we have been very busy, new budget year is in effect. We at Washington County have applied for the 911 grant. We are in the process of obtaining a fourth position as a overflow and training position, working on finishing our radio upgrade and working on net clock. So there's a lot of projects happening this year, and we have one full-time opening, I'll have two full-time openings come August 5th and several part-time openings. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you, ma'am. And we also have Marissa Allwaters online for Region B. Marissa, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, all right. I had started talking and didn't realize it hadn't unmuted. But Carrie, two quick updates. Carrie 911 is hiring for 3 telecommunicator positions. They signed a contract with Prepared Live for their enhanced tier. They're looking at services to outsource quality assurance and audio redaction. They're replacing and updating their CAD computers and monitors late this summer, early fall. They're reviewing for purchase community engagement software that will also provide immediate text responses to callers via CAD. And they're also in communications with other agencies to expand their CAD to CAD interoperability. Holly Springs, their budget that opens October 1, they were granted 2 new telecommunicator positions. They are currently fully staffed, but these 2 new positions, the starting salary for telecommunicator 1 is $45,569. That pay band runs to $68,354. And she also said if someone was certified and could laterally move into a telecommunicator 2 position, the starting salary will be $48,282, and that pay band will run to $72,424. And that is all I've got.
All right, thank you, ma'am. I will now call on First Vice President Shantae Lipscomb for the core report.
Okay, thank you everyone who have participated in today's core initiative and brought in school supplies. If you brought in school supplies and did not get a raffle, please raise your hand. Everyone got it? Oh, nope, okay. Thank you. Okay. The supplies donated will be given to Drawers of Hope Resource Center based in High Point. Drawers of Hope Resource Center is a nonprofit organization established in 2020. They serve at-risk youth facing obstacles of everyday life, and they focus on communities and neighborhoods with high youth crime rates, gang-related activity, and poverty, and rebuilding and restoring lives by providing resources to their families. Drawers of Hope Resource Center provides skills and training and programs that focus on faith motivation, life skills, resolution, confidence building, educational goals, career planning, family involvement, and after-school care. So everything donated today will, all the school supplies will go to this nonprofit. So give yourselves a hand for what you did. I'm excited about that. Looking ahead so we can prepare for our September core initiative in Charlotte, we will be partnering with a national organization known as Sleep in Heavenly Peace. This organization consists of a group of volunteers dedicated to building, assembling, and delivering bunk beds to children and families in need. So it is our personal goal and my goal to collect enough funds from our chapters at our Charlotte meeting to provide at least 5 beds for the children in that area. So more information is to come, and I look forward to seeing you then. We also have a listserv, so if you're not on that listserv to get the updates and information about CORE, please see me before you leave today. That's all. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, ma'am. So I'll go into the President's report. Yesterday, the North Carolina Apco Board met. One thing that was told to me after I took President in May was that you had 3 months to come up with a budget. Yesterday, I presented the board a budget, and the budget was approved. So the Apco does have an approved budget. Also wanted to talk a little bit about the upcoming chapter dinner that is happening in Nashville. Motorola has graciously sponsored that dinner. We put it out, when did we put that out, Grayson? Tuesday? I think we put it out Tuesday, opened up the registration for the dinner in Nashville. Within several hours, that registration was full. I was kind of surprised that the registration filled up that quickly. We also do have a waiting list. If somebody decides that they have registered to go to that chapter dinner but cannot make it, please let us know so we can go to that waiting list and have somebody else be able to go. The dinner's going to be at Puckett's there in Nashville. The dinner will start promptly at 6 p.m. and will be from 8. So like I said, if you did not get on the registration for your tickets for that, please, if you're still willing to go or wanting to go, please go to the North Carolina Apco page and put your name on the waiting list. As of right now, as of June 21st, or July 21st, excuse me, our membership numbers are, total membership is 1,746 members. I was heard that that is one of the highest numbers that we've seen. We have a total of 698 full members, 78 associate members, 944 online members, and 26 commercial members. That is all I have on the President's report. We don't have any old or new business. At this time, I would like to call Mr. Dylan Duplin and Amy Mahak up to the podium to talk on the Cary presentation.
Am I good to speak for this, or? You can, or you can use that. Good morning, everybody. My name is Dylan Dupin. I work for the CGN program, and thank you for your time and the opportunity to present on our program today. With me is Amy Mahalik. She is the program director and oversees the call center in addition to being the provider liaison and providing any sort of after action reports that law enforcement or detectives might need. The CGN program is a domestic violence program that seeks to curtail the recurring instances of domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking by use of GPS technology. And it's unique in that it's focused on victim awareness and safety. So a lot of GPS monitoring programs, they're more punitive in nature, house arrest, those sort of things. Our program is specifically designed to alert victims of any potentially dangerous situations. And we're here today to provide an overview of our program because we work hand in hand with 911 telecommunicators frequently, and we really appreciate your help in expediting a law enforcement response. As you know, domestic violence situations are some of the most dangerous situations that a police officer can respond to, and I can think of several instances just in the past few months where telecommunicators have assisted in getting a law enforcement officer out there quickly, and that's resulted in the prevention of harm coming to one of our victims. So thank you, and we very much appreciate your help. So Amy Mahalik, sitting right here, is our program director. She has a wealth of experience in law enforcement. She was an Atlanta City police officer for a little bit, 4 years, and then she did at least 12 and a half years, or 10 and a half, with the ATF. And she's been with the program since its inception, and when it went from pilot to fully funded program, she was our obvious choice for program director. The areas that you see highlighted in purple represent all the counties that we are involved in their respective judicial districts. We're hopeful that the legislature will provide additional funding so that we may expand our network and provide the service to more victims throughout the state of North Carolina. We have a few testimonials from our defendant. I won't play it, but for pause, and you can read the victims, and I'll go ahead and summarize it. But Paul effectively said he appreciated the program even as a defendant who is enrolled in GPS monitoring because it provided him with sort of an alibi that said, hey, look, I'm abiding by the program requirements, and I'm not violating any sort of DVPO. And Tamala Deshane provided a testimonial just to say thank you for providing the program, and that she didn't feel alone when she was enrolled in it. And a lot of domestic violence abusers do try to alienate their victims to have more control over them. So she said, because of your program, I felt that he didn't have that control over me. There's just additional testimonials from a few of our victims. So again, the CGEN North Carolina Electronic Monitoring Program is a domestic violence GPS monitoring program that is focused on victim notification and early warning. There's no residence requirement. The caveat to that is the victim in the program needs to reside in North Carolina, and the crime or the alleged crime has had to have occurred in a participating county. Other than that, if a victim is visiting from out of state and a crime occurs, she's eligible for enrollment in the program. And the defendants, we have defendants who live all across the U.S. We even have a gentleman who's in Hawaii right now. He was in North Carolina at the time the crime occurred. He was remanded to the CGEN Electronic Monitoring Program, and because there's no restrictions on his movement outside of not having any sort of contact with the victim, he was free to return home. Candidates for the program include all domestic violence cases, all sexual assault cases, and all stalking cases. And with stalking and the sexual assault, there doesn't need to be a relationship component to the crime. I won't go through all the technical specifications for the devices, but generally speaking, you can expect 48 hours of battery life off a single charge. The unit calls in once every 10 minutes and collects a GPS point every minute. When I say calling, it's not actually calling in. It takes the data it's collected over that 10-minute period and uploading it to the software that we use to monitor our enrollees. And the caveat to that is if a violation occurs, it doesn't wait for the 10-minute period to elapse. It just uploads that violation immediately. It's got dual SIM card capability, which means that it operates off of both AT&T and Verizon networks, and that reduces the amount of dead space that we'd have. So if you're in the mountains, say, AT&T doesn't exactly operate as well as Verizon up there. So by having the ability to switch between the two networks, it reduces the amount of dead space that you'd have with that particular unit. It's tamper resistant in a variety of ways. You can see on the top of the band there and the bottom, they're thicker than the body of it. And that's because there's a fiber optic cable that runs the length of the band. And when the band's affixed to the unit, butts up against a lens and transmits a light particle around it once every half second. So if anything were to happen that prevents that particle of light from completing its circuit, that's when we get a tamper alert. One of the most common ways people try to defeat the GPS technology is by shielding it with tinfoil. If that happens, I won't go into it, but it's very foolproof. So if the device detects some sort of tampering, it'll alert us and we'll take the corrective action on it. And then finally, the last way that it is tamper-proof is that it has a accelerometer in it that is constantly ticking back and forth with the slightest movement. And if the device is stationary for a 4-hour period, it'll trip what's called an extended no motion alert. And that's indicative of one or two things. One, the defendant has managed to slip off the device, which is unlikely when it's installed correctly. Or the other alternative is the defendant is either dead or seriously ill. And we've had extended no motion alerts that have occurred. We've called a welfare check, and it turns out that individual was actually experiencing a drug overdose, and we were able to get him medical care in a timely fashion. The program is focused on exclusion zones. We have mobile and fixed exclusion zones, but think of them as a prohibited area the defendant is not supposed to go to. That will be defendant's school, work, any location where she might reside, etc. And there's no limit to the design of the exclusion zone. So if the court order says, stay out of Chatham County, we can put an exclusion zone around the entirety of that county. And we can tailor it to the needs of the case. I always like to use the example of a gym teacher. She was a victim in the program, and she provided her work address, which was a school. She needed entire access to the school campus. We were able to design the exclusion zone to, hug the entire perimeter of the school, so she'd have access to the track, the softball field, etc. And we did it in a way that the defendant could drive down the road that the school was on, but the second he turned into the parking lot, it would trip that exclusion zone alert. And exclusion zones, they're one of the two main phone calls you'll get from the CGEN program regarding, a 911 emergency. And really, it means that a defendant has entered into a prohibited zone, and a victim is at risk for harm or serious injury. The victim can opt to participate with a victim notification unit. Think of it as a mobile exclusion zone that surrounds her person at all times. She can put it in her purse, carry it on her belt, etc. And it's paired with the defendant's ankle monitor. When he gets within prescribed distances of her, it sends her text alerts saying, hey, he's 3 miles away, he's 2 miles away, he's 1 mile away. And then when he's 300 feet from her. It'll also send text notifications when he cuts the device off, when he allows it to go dead. So it just provides that victim with a greater sense of awareness and peace of mind regarding the defendant's whereabouts and his motives. The victim unit doesn't call in once every 10 minutes, it calls in once every 5. And when the defendant gets closer to the victim, it increases its call-in frequency to allow for his travel towards her at 60 miles an hour. So she'll be getting text alerts every minute as he closes that gap heading towards the victim. It'll also let the victim know he is actually moving away from her. So she'll have that peace of mind, all right, well, he's 3 miles away, he's 2 miles away. Then as he leaves those zones, she'll get notification that he's actually exited it and is moving away from her. Quick note on the 3, 2, and 1 mile distances. They can all be changed to fit the needs of the case. So if you have a victim who lives within 2 miles of a defendant, we can shrink that outer zone so that she's not constantly getting text alerts. Our call center is located in Wilmington, North Carolina, and its primary function is to assist victims and provide them with awareness regarding the defendant's whereabouts as it pertains to her. We monitor, detect, and report violations. In addition to assisting the victims, we assist law enforcement and defendants as well, and we'll work in conjunction with them as needed to ensure victim safety. It's 24/7, 365, so there's never a time where the lines aren't being monitored, including holidays, et cetera. There's always someone at the call center monitoring the phone lines, and if needed, being in Wilmington, sometimes we experience inclement weather. There is a secondary location we can go to that has a backup generator, and it's a brick building, so we can sustain operations indefinitely from that location. Amy, would you care to discuss the CGIM program staff, or you just want me to keep rolling through it? All right. In the interest of, Amy had a couple slides she was going to speak through, but in the interest of time, we're just going to do it all through me. And then if you guys have any questions after the fact, please feel free to reach out to myself or Amy. We do try to hire exclusively people with law enforcement backgrounds or with 911 telecommunications experience. And through the 12 employees that we have, so 2 every shift, that represents 120 years of law enforcement experience. Since the beginning of the year, we've handled nearly 43,000 phone calls, and that averages out to about 250 a day. All calls are recorded, so if we need to refer to them at a later date or provide them as evidence in court, we can absolutely do so. We are in 16 judicial districts, and there are 39 counties that's contained therein. We have 16 providers, so those are the individuals who actually install the monitors on the defendants, and they are the victim's primary point of contact in the initial phases of that case. And again, we do try to hire from law enforcement background just because they know the severity that comes with a domestic violence, sexual assault, or stalking case. And during our peak, we had close to 700 enrollees in the program throughout our 16 judicial districts. So in addition to a brief presentation, we can also provide training to law enforcement. There are several detectives that we who are solely focused on domestic violence, and we've trained them on how to access and utilize VeriTrax for their own purposes. We can also provide court admissible evidence in the form of reports, tracking data, et cetera. And we can actually also put the device in pursuit mode. So instead of calling in once every 10 minutes and taking a GPS point every minute, it'll call in once a minute and take a GPS point every 30 seconds. And it's as close to real-time tracking that we can get. And through that, we've actually assisted law enforcement in apprehending a few wayward enrollees. I'll briefly touch on the implementation process. If anyone here is a key stakeholder in their respective county that we're not currently involved with, please let us know, and we'd be happy to discuss enrolling or implementing the program in your county. We are currently waiting on word if the state is going to allocate additional funding for the program. And with that, we hope to add additional counties. And then we have the process of processing of violations. All the reports are generated from the Siegen Call Center, and depending on the nature of the violation, it's submitted directly to a responding law enforcement agent. Really, the two violations that occur where we'll call 911 directly is a strap tamper or a exclusion zone violation. And both of those indicate to us that the defendant is attempting to remove himself from monitoring with the master tamper, or if he's going to exclusion zone, he's already been made aware he's not supposed to go to that area, and he's willfully going there. That represents a threat to the victim, and so we call 911 to say, to request that they send a law enforcement response to prevent any sort of harm from coming to the victim. That is our program in a nutshell. We went through it a little fast due to interest in time, but if you have any questions after, please feel free to contact myself, Amy, or Dr. Fowler in the back, and we'd be happy to go through it. And again, I just want to say thank you for your assistance in helping to keep victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking safe throughout North Carolina. So we could not do it without you.
Dylan and Amy and Dr. Fowler, I'd like to thank y'all for coming and giving us that presentation. All right, that's all I have. At this time, I will take a motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will take a 5 to 6 minute break and let North Carolina Nena come up and get their stuff ready. Thank you, everybody.
Meeting to order and go ahead and get started. We will kind of juggle this agenda a little bit. We have one of our members still doing a local media interview, and the media will be coming in here to cover a part of our meeting, which you will hear about once they come in. So I'll kind of skip that to begin. But I will call the meeting to order and welcome those who are here in person to High Point and also virtually, and thank our commercial partners for showing up and also the sponsors of today's lunch. Ashley, would you mind doing a roll call for our board of directors?
Sure. First Vice President Corinne. Here. Second Vice President Stephen. Here. Immediate Past President Jason Compton. Here. Captain Treasurer Jameson Sears. Here. Chapter Secretary myself. Western Region Representative Brian Drum. Here. Central Region Representative Corey Bodie. Do we know if he's online?
He's online.
Okay. Eastern Region Representative Vic Williams.
I didn't see him.
Private Sector Representative Jennifer Taylor. NC 911 Board Representative Donna Wright. Here. Membership Outreach Mitch. Western Region Wellness Director Monica, she is here. Central Region Director myself. Eastern Region Wellness Director Kaylee Green.
Kaylee Wood.
Okay. Media Committee Chair and Technical Advisor Stephen Smith, and PSAP Liaison Travis. Here.
All right. Thank you. Real quickly, since our meeting at the state conference in May, I have appointed a few additional board members. They have already been sworn in, but I'll just quickly announce who they are. First here we have Travis down here at the end. Travis, if you want to just kind of introduce yourself real quickly. Awesome. So I've asked Travis to come on the board as our PSAP liaison. So any of you managers in the room that want quick access to a board member without having to track down who your regional rep is, or if there's an urgent matter that we can assist with, whether through our peer support team or our wellness initiative or anything across the state. If you have a question that you're working on with the 911 board and you would like our assistance or someone on the board to assist with it all, I ask for you to reach out to Travis. Travis's contact information will be put on our social media page and also on our website. I also appointed Mitch Regg as our membership outreach. Mitch works for Evans Consoles. Many of you have seen me and Mitch hanging out at all across the state at different chapter events, especially at the conference. Typically, we're the ones trying to compete to wear the brightest colors. But Mitch is great at outreach, and so I've asked Mitch and challenged Mitch to grow our membership. We are currently sitting, I think it was 966 members, and our goal is to go over 1,000 as quick as possible. And we're going to talk a little bit more about membership, but I've challenged Mitch on taking that on as well. So they have all been appointed and been sworn in, so we welcome them to the board. For the review and approval of minutes from previous membership meeting, all the minutes have been posted online. And Jameson, if you would also cover the treasurer's report.
In our Wells Fargo account, checking account, we have $4,951.21. In the Wells Fargo saving, $10,005.88. In our Civic account, general checking is $20,095.30. The wellness account, $1,014.79. And the money market accounts, $50,150.91 for a total of $86,218.09.
I will entertain a motion to accept these as presented. Motion. Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Not opposed. Thank you. All right, real quickly, I was scrolling on my computer real fast. I skipped an entire section. Always important for us to have the special recognition of people who have committed a lot of time, hours, and a career to this industry. So want to quickly recognize, and I ask you to stand quickly so we can recognize you, any Nena Hall of Fame members. All right, Nena past presidents. Emergency number professionals or EMPs. Center Manager Certification Program graduates, or CMCPs. Any first-time attendees? Oh, welcome. And our National Nena board members. Awesome. I'm going to skip my current president's report until Monica comes in. So Melanie, I'll ask you if you'll give the National Nena report.
Thank you, Ryan. So Nena is proud to announce the launch of the new Transformative Empowerment and Mentoring Program, or the TEAM program. This 6-month-long program is another way that Nena will help empower future leaders of the 911 community to achieve personal and professional growth. TEAM program participants will receive personalized guidance, support, and inspiration by fostering meaningful, transformative connections centered around growth, diversity, and respect. If you would like to be either a mentor or a mentee in the first cohort beginning in the fall, please go to nena.org/team. I am happy to say that since our conference in June, we now have over 20,300 members. We have had more than 300 members join in the last month. At Nena 2023, Charlie Cullen, who is the new Nena board president, announced his priorities for the year. They are moving Next Generation 911 forward, seeing telecommunicators reclassified as a protective service occupation, furthering our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, addressing the 911 staffing crisis, and helping everyone in our community improve wellness and resiliency. Our Nena conference dates for 2024 are June the 28th through July 3rd, and that will be in Orlando, Florida at the Gaylord Palms. And this year, because of the way that we had to schedule the conference, it is actually a Saturday to Tuesday instead of Sunday to Wednesday. So it will be Saturday to Tuesday. And Mr. President, that's my report.
Thank you, Melanie. And I want as many people as possible in Orlando next year as we see Miss Melanie here sworn in as National Nena President. If you book early in Orlando, you can find good rates on hotels. You do not have to stay at Disney. You do not have to stay on International Drive by the Convention Center. Everything is a short commute. So please start saving now to get down there. And thanks for Melanie for mentioning that there is a date change. I had made that note of it being a Saturday to a Tuesday. That is perfect for you to take your family with you, and then you get Wednesday to Sunday to go ahead and enjoy Florida. Florida in June is amazing. You get to swim through the air and through the pools. Go ahead, Melanie.
I apologize. I promised myself that when we have new EMPs in North Carolina, that I was going to recognize and announce those. So we have 5 new EMPs in North Carolina. They are Zach Alexander, Paula Clark, Wyatt Gibson, George Walton, and Paul Winstead. Are any of those here today? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. All right, we'll move on to our 911 Board Legislative Report. Donna, anything you'd like to add?
Nothing to add about the board. I think Melanie summarized it very well. We've simply just not met. Legislatively, the only thing I would like to mention is legislators are still in session. Depending on how this budget thing goes is when it'll end. One thing to note is House Bill 814, which is now Session Law 2023-92, which was a change in recognizing of the SWIC as an official position and some other pieces that have PSAP elements too. But I understand, Ms. Amanda, you're going to be speaking with us about that, so I'm going to let you have the discussion on that here shortly. And that's all I have, unless someone has questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Donna. We appreciate the work that you and Melanie both do to keep us updated on 911 board work and also legislative work. Jennifer Taylor was not able to be here with us, but I do have her Commercial Advisory Council update. Just real quickly, we have from Carbine and National Nena are hosting the Pulse of 911 virtual conference next week. If you have been on social media at all and follow anyone from the 911 industry, you have probably seen this shared across your timeline. There's an excellent line of speakers for this. Emails should have gone out to all Nena members. This event will be held Tuesday, July 25th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. To connect with industry experts, engage in informative sessions, and network with professionals who are passionate and revolutionary 911. So if you have not seen the speakers, I know Melody will be representing us as North Carolina on some of those sessions, so please participate in that. Rapid deploy, Wes, I know you're here. Is there anything that you would like to add before I just read this? No, you can read. Okay. I like calling you out completely unexpected. I'm on a roll with that today. Rapid Deploy has rolled out a new dashboard on their Eclipse Analytics that includes an overview of daily and past hour call counts for overall situational awareness. They have added new search capabilities within Eclipse, including call search by date and time, and not just by date. Also, call search by phone number includes number search in any format, and next week, development of a new version of the radius mapping platform that includes Google Street View and map markups for incident and special events. Awesome, thank you. Josh, I know you're here as well. Would you like to give the Rapid SOS report or want me to read it? Please, sir. Perfect. All right. Within Rapid SOS digital alerts, ECCs can receive automated digital requests for dispatch from monitoring companies, view critical emergency data at a glance in real time, and directly connect with monitoring center operators to empower and more informative response. With Rapid SOS taking a partnership approach to school safety, they have created a multi-agency routing solution. This feature enables a single alert to show up to multiple agencies at once, so mutual aid can be provided by surrounding agencies to make response times as fast as efficient as possible. Please reach out to Josh Robinson. Raise your hand. With Rapid SOS for more information. And if you're traveling to Apco in Nashville, be sure to stop by the booth with Rapid SOS team in the exhibit hall to check out the new updates.
I will say we'll have coffee and cookies also.
That should have been sentence number one. Awesome. All right, thank you. And is there any other commercial partners in the room that would like to give any kind of update? Awesome. I will now call on Amanda to give our SWIC report.
Hello, everyone. Amanda Winans, North Carolina Emergency Management in the Communications Branch, serving for Greg Hauser as the SWIC for North Carolina. Thank you, Donna, for the introduction. Reference to Session Law 2023-92, Section 1. We are, the Communications Branch, going to be holding a Communications Center huddle-up meeting. It's going to be this Monday, the 24th at 1400 hours. There is a registration if anybody's interested in attending and hasn't received that registration link email. If you could email us at it's emgroup ESF2 leads, LEADS, at ncdps.gov, and we can send that information to you. We're also looking to bring in non-PSAP designated communication centers as well, looking for assistance with those contacts. So if anybody that falls within that realm or is connected with, so if they want to be involved in that as well, we can go ahead and send that email to that ESF2 leads group email, and we can send that information out. Also, for upcoming training, we do have Disaster Comms Week in Charlotte. It's coming up August 28th through September 1st. We are holding one of the Incident Tactical Dispatch, INTD, and TERT classes. Looking for students. If you know anybody who's interested and available, we've got positions open. Also, a shameless plug for the ITSL position, which is a relatively new position in the FEMA ICS world. It's the Information Technology Service Unit Leader. We have a class that's paired with the communications leader, the COML, in the ICS structure. We are low on enrollment for that, so if anybody's interested in the IT realm of communications, please look that up on NC Terms, welcoming that. And unfortunately, the INTD TERT class that was scheduled for Iredell County the last week of July was canceled due to low enrollment, so we are pushing the information out for Disaster Comms Week. So again, that class you can register on NC Terms. And that's it for the SWIC report.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda, for being here. Look forward to working with you in the future. All right. We covered most of the region reports during the Apco meeting, but I do want to give our region representatives a chance to give any additional updates. So start with Brian Drum with the Western Region Report.
So I've got two additional updates. One is from Susan Davis with Mooresville Communications. They have 2 full-time openings for TCO, and Tiffany River, the assistant supervisor, has obtained her CMCP certification, and Miss Davis has obtained her RPL. Have a report from Phil York with Rowan. They're continuing to work through their radio system upgrade, and they're currently 1 short with 10 TCs in training, and that's all I have in addition.
Awesome, thank you. Corey, I don't think you had anything to add from the Central Region online from what you had texted me, so I'm going to move on to, is Vic online for any additional from Eastern? All right, we'll move on real quickly to Membership Committee report from Ms. Corinne.
Hey guys, I just wanted to give a quick update. Like Brian said, we are at 966 for North Carolina for our membership level. We would like to very much raise that and get that quite a bit higher just over the next year. Just a little blurb or a little push for that. Membership is $60 annual for the telecommunicator level. Some of those benefits include the subscription to the Call magazine, which is an excellent resource for technology, wellness, anything 911. The Public Safety Smart Brief, which is more public safety geared. It is not specific to only 911, and that comes out on a weekly basis. There are discounts for conferences. There are discounts for courses and classes. There is some that are web-based. There are several that are in person. There are a lot of opportunities there. And all of those come at a discounted rate once that membership is obtained. There's a telecommunicator resource-only page. Like Melanie mentioned previously, there is the opportunity for the mentor-mentee program as well. That's part of that membership. And probably the biggest benefit is more the peer-to-peer support, your networking opportunities, the people that you meet, the people that you engage with who are industry leaders. And the amount of support that you can gain is just second to none. So I would just encourage your telecommunicators and push that to them, that if that is something they're interested in, they can also reach out to any one of us, and we're happy to discuss that with them as well. I think that's it.
Awesome, thanks, Corinne. Okay, I'm going to jump back to the top real quick now for the President's report, now that we have the entire board here. So back in June, as many of you have probably seen across our social media platforms and also our website, was our National Nena Conference. At National Nena, prior to arriving to National Nena, several members of the National Nena Board had reached out to us in wanting us to participate as much as possible at National Nena. I think when we agreed to participate, we didn't realize that it was actually going to be participation during the entire conference. What they had planned at the National Nena level from the Wellness Committee is to have the first ever wellness pavilion set up in the vendor hall, which was roughly probably a 10 to 15 foot wide by 40 foot section. At one end, they had some personal health sessions where you could get a nice shoulder massage, talk to some people about proper sitting in a chair, kind of your physical health. The other end, they asked North Carolina Nena to pretty much run the mental health side of the wellness booth. What this entailed was several sessions, a total of 5 sessions that we offered throughout over a 2-day course. There were people that were coming in and out pretty much the entire day, but what we quickly realized is that North Carolina Nena had been risen to the level of the example moving forward for mental health wellness across not only North Carolina or not just United States, but even into Canada. We've had people from several people from Canada come and talk to us about trying to spread the mental health outreach there. Those of you who may or may not be aware, back in January, we actually did our first 911 telecommunicator wellness retreat, and that's what kind of kicked off a lot of this stuff. As Jason, when he was president, kind of started this initiative, You know, a lot of it was, let's kick the rocks and see what happens, and it has literally exploded. When we get into the wellness report here, we can talk a little bit more about the books. But at National Nena, and even traveling the country since National Nena in my full-time job, and I've been able to have Melanie on a few of these trips together, it is amazing how quickly people grasp onto action. Mental health has been something that, I joke around, it's kind of like the term NG911. We've heard about it for decades, but we're just now starting to see the action behind it. And it's the same thing with mental health. It was mind-blowing how many people come up and said, I always knew it was an issue, but I didn't know how to address it. And simply by talking to one of your team members, we now have a plan of action, or at least a resource to start with when we go back to our center. On the opening ceremony at National Nena, to put the major stamp of approval from the National Nena board president at the time, Lori Anderson, she called the North Carolina Wellness team up there and presented the North Carolina Nena Wellness team with the National Nena President's Award. This award has been awarded to 6 people in the history of the state of North Carolina. All 6 of us currently sit on the North Carolina Nena board. So I think that is something for us to be very, very proud of. It has taken a lot of work. I don't think, a lot of people don't realize how much work goes into just simply running a wellness committee. If there have been times that I know Jason and I feel like we don't ever take a day off in communicating. I know, and he's in nonstop communication with Monica or Jameson or Ashley or Kaylee. But as a member of this wellness team, I'm kind of the rookie to the team. I have the fewest hours, or you could say years of experience. But I want to quickly just kind of recognize all of these folks again, and Kaylee has hopefully joined us online and can hear us say this, but the amount of work that they have put in, not only since pretty much a year from this meeting last year is when this whole initiative started, and to the amount of traction that we have not only helped gain here in North Carolina, but nationwide and slowly spreading worldwide. I would just like to take a moment to say thank you to them and give them a round of applause for their efforts and continued efforts to address mental health in 911. Yeah, as someone in my career have been blessed to, this was my 10th straight year of going to National Nena, 8th straight year going to National Nena. This was by far the best year because it was just amazing to see the outreach that we've had. And I was so glad that so many of our board members got to go with us. I know we made Melody proud as she was part of the executive board, but this is just the stepping stone. As Jason put it perfectly in one of our discussions, we have went from T-ball to the major leagues very quickly. So as we continue our education and our outreach, we are also going to ask you guys to participate in as well. And we've already, talked to North Carolina Apco and how we can do a lot of things jointly, especially with the core initiative to really try to keep this going. So that summarizes my wellness report, my president's report. And I just want to thank you guys for all of your work there. So now moving on to EMP update, Stephen Smith.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to remind everybody what the goals of the certification is to establish the comprehensive body of knowledge for emergency numbered professionals, to promote a standard of competence for EMPs that will be recognized and accepted by the 911 profession, governmental agencies, the business community, and the general public, to ensure an awareness of current issues and development in emergency communications, to provide formal recognition of individuals for professional achievement, and to encourage professional growth and enhance the self-esteem of EMPs. I would recommend everybody go on to the nena.org/EMP, find yourself the EMP handbook. It's got everything in it, from class dates to qualifications to apply for that, to not only the dates, but the study group material, the sample testing, all that stuff. With that being said, there is one date left for 2023, and that is the fall testing date of October 7th through the 21st. That is your date range. but your applications need to be submitted no later than September 8th. And then for the first part of 2024, the class dates are, or the exam dates are February 3rd through the 17th, with a January 5th deadline on your applications. So experience criteria, real quick, you have to have 3 years' experience of emergency communications or 3 years' experience with a commercial provider of emergency communication products and services. And then there's some other experience. You have to have a total of 10 points, and there's some things that help you guide how to get those points, such as like a bachelor's degree gives you 4 points, as long as you have that 3-year minimum. So I encourage you to, again, nena.org/ENP to get this handbook. The second part, aside from the ENP, we've had some issues communicating with all of our professionals, our 911 centers. So we have taken it upon ourselves to redo our listserv for the North Carolina Nena side. We are going to be putting out a form on our Facebook and our website for you to give us your contact information. It is secure. We will be able to, if you opt in basically to get part of that listserv, we will put it out there and add you, and you will get notified that you've been added to that. That listserv is hosted on Google, so it will come from North Carolina Nena listserv at googlegroups.com, I believe is the whole email address. So again, at any time you can opt out of that. Just follow the email directions, part of that chain. And that concludes my report.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephen. All right, now moving on to the Wellness Committee. I will pass this off to Jason.
Good morning, everyone. Just quickly, we'll report that. Thank you for reminding me. I've been telling myself all meeting that I'm going to remember to press the button. All right, so just real quickly, some stats from our last time we met. We have had 12 peer support interactions. We have sold approximately 1,100 books of our wellness books that you'll hear more about earlier. We also have a pending purchase. Big thank you to the North Carolina 911 Board for your support and making sure that this book reaches telecommunicators all across the state with their pending purchase of, I believe, 1,500 books. And then I'll kick it down to the ladies at the end of the table to speak more.
All right. As he said, we had 12 peer support interactions, so some of those have been in the state of North Carolina. We had 8 in Texas at Grapevine at the National Nena Conference. We did work in the Wellness Pavilion. We had some of those contacts there. We did 1 professional referral to Responder Support Services here in North Carolina, and we are continuing to try to get volunteers for our peer support team. So if you do want to join the peer support team, all you need is the group and individual CISM training, and we will definitely get you on the team after a vetting process. The second annual wellness retreat, applications are going to be opening up in the beginning of August, and they will be closing on Friday, September 29th. We will be making selections, and people that are accepted to the retreat will be notified around Thanksgiving. It will be held in Corolla again on the Outer Banks in January of 2024, the 22nd through the 26th. We learned a lot last year, so we're going to be changing up a little bit with the times and to kind of work with the night shift folks and go a little later in the evening and change up the meal times and what we're offering for food and have a little bit more free time for folks. It was very impactful last year with those 15 people that were able to go to that retreat. So we would like to thank our sponsors that helped us last year to make that happen. And it was of no cost to the actual attendees. Their centers had to pay $200 for them to go. Jameson, do you know the exact cost per person that it cost us to do that? It's a lot to take somebody on an all-inclusive retreat for food. We have 25 bedrooms that have ensuite bathrooms there. It is the perfect place to hold something like this. And we learned a lot, and we're going to have a few more volunteers from the Nena board go this year and some more of our peer support people so that we can make it a glamorous experience for these folks. We want them to not have to pick up a dirty plate. We don't want them to have to get a drink. We want it to be a true retreat experience, and we're excited about it. The books, Jameson has about 13 books that we can sell here at the meeting. So if you guys want to look at the wellness book, or if you want to buy a book, they're $10 here. I think they're $12.95 on Amazon. So it'll save you a little bit of money. But all of the profit from the purchase of the books goes right back into the Wellness Committee. And we have been very fortunate. There have been some churches and outreach groups that have come in to purchase some books that we were able to give away. And folks have been very thankful. So if somebody has a traumatic incident happen at one of the centers in North Carolina, we reach out, we send them a book, and send them a nice card. So if you guys have any needs for the books, just let us know, and we'll be happy to let you know how to get those.
Awesome. Anything else from the Wellness Committee?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Yeah, speaking of the books, I'll share one experience last week. I was out at the Arizona Apco Nena conference, and I saw a lady coming across the vendor hall from probably 150 feet away with her wellness book held up in the air. And she had ordered one probably a week or two back, and she said she takes it to work with her every single night, and you would see the proof of her jotting notes. As she flipped through it, it reminded me of my old grandma's Bible, how she'd make her notes in the borders of her Bible. But she had filled out most of the worksheets that are in there and was really talking about how awesome it was. So that book has become a really good tool, and a very simple tool to provide to your telecommunicators. If you have a critical incident or something like that, please reach out to us.
Ryan, there is one more thing. Robeson County Community College is offering an individual and group crisis intervention class. So that's the 3-day class. It's September 13th through the 15th from 8 to 5, and it is no cost it's fee waived for city, county, state law enforcement, fire, EMS, and emergency management. So we have the flyer. We're going to post that on the North Carolina Nena page, and that way if anybody wants to attend, they can go. If you get that outside of a community college system, that class is about $600. So I will encourage you to do it when it pops up in the community college system. That way it's fee waived. It'll save your agency a whole lot of money.
Also, and I'll also speak from personal experience. That is one of the best classes I've ever taken. I think not only are you learning how to provide peer support, but you really get your eyes open to how much we all need peer support. Kind of the traumas that we go through on a daily work life. Yeah, it's really, really good class. A very, very good class, and we'll make sure we get that placed up there. Candy, are you on or anything you want to provide for the Education Committee? All right. And one last item that we actually left off the agenda, thanks for Donna for reminding me of this. I first want to congratulate our own board member, Ms. Jameson, for getting the job as the program manager at the Richmond Community College, sorry. And so I want to congratulate her for getting that position. And Jameson, I'd like to give you the floor for a minute if there's anything you would like to speak about around that program.
Let me remember this time, I forgot earlier to unmute. So if you pay attention to the Facebook page, I know we shared it on ours and it's on Richmond's Facebook. For any information or if you have any questions, there is an informational session we're doing on August 1st and August 3rd. And if you register to attend one of those sessions, you'll get the link and everything for it. If you do register, you'll also get the recording afterwards. So if you register, something comes up, your people end up working or anything like that, they will still get the whole information session. Also, whenever you're signing up for it, there is a spot for you to go ahead and ask questions if you have any questions, but there will be open time during it to ask. So we just ask that you register and participate in one of the sessions, and just let us know if you have any questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Jameson. Congratulations on that position, and we look forward to supporting you through it. Moving into new business, Jason, would you like to do the bylaw revision?
Thank you, Ryan. All right, so as you guys know, for those of you at least who are not first-time attendees, we have been working for some months on preparing bylaws amendments to the North Carolina Nena bylaws to make the Wellness Committee and peer support teams permanent standing committees instead of committees that dissolve every year at the end of the board term. Also with this is some language to establish formally the Wellness Committee Fund, or our Wellness Fund, and how that works. So I apologize that this is a little bit of reading to do, but this was all emailed out to every active member of North Carolina Nena, to whatever email address your membership is registered with National Nena last month. So these changes are going to be to Article 7, which is committees, Section 1 on standing committees, and will immediately follow paragraph 9 of that section. It is entitled the Wellness Committee and Peer Support Team. The North Carolina Nena Wellness Committee shall be co-chaired by the Eastern, Central, and Western regional wellness directors, whose regions correspond with the geographical regions defined for the board's regional representatives. The wellness directors shall serve a period of 2 years with no restriction on the number of terms served consecutively or in total. 2, the North Carolina Nena Peer Support Team shall be chaired by the Peer Support Team Leader. The Peer Support Team Leader shall serve for a period of 2 years with no restriction on the number of terms served consecutively or in total. 3, qualifications for Regional Wellness Director and Peer Support Team Leader. Each of the regional wellness directors must be a member of North Carolina Nena in good standing, must either work or reside within the region being represented, and must currently serve or have previously served as a telecommunicator in this state. The Peer Support Team Leader must be a member of North Carolina Nena in good standing and must be currently employed or retired from a public sector public safety agency in this state. Regional directors and the Peer Support Team Leader must be certified in peer support and meet all minimum requirements for experience, education, or certification as defined by the Wellness Committee and Peer Support Team Charter, policies, and procedures. Prospective regional wellness directors or peer team leaders must submit a letter of interest, current resume, and letter of support from the applicant's agency or department, clearly articulating support for, but not limited to, time and expenses related to attendance at bi-monthly chapter meetings, the North Carolina Public Safety Communications Conference, the North Carolina Nena Wellness Retreat, and periodic peer support team deployments and continuing education or training. In the event of a vacancy, the chapter president shall ask for an open call of interested members. The chapter president, in concert with the Wellness Committee, shall consider all applicants and recommend an appointee to the executive board for confirmation. The appointment will be confirmed by majority vote of the executive board. 4, qualifications of Wellness Committee and Peer Support Team members. Prospective Wellness Committee and/or Peer Support Team members must submit a letter of interest, current resume, and letter of support from the applicant's agency or department, clearly stating support for but not limited to periodic online and in-person committee meetings, team deployments, and continuing education trainings for team members. Members are strongly encouraged but not required to attend all North Carolina Nena events throughout the year. Members must meet all minimum requirements for experience, education, and certification as defined by the Wellness Committee and Peer Support Team Charter, policies, and procedures. And finally, number 5, North Carolina Nena Wellness Fund. North Carolina Nena shall establish the Nena Wellness Fund to support the function and initiatives of the Wellness Committee and Peer Support Team. This fund shall be maintained separately from the chapter's other funds and accounts, for example, the general fund and savings accounts, with monies dedicated solely to use for wellness and peer support functions and initiatives. The Wellness Committee shall manage this account in consultation with the chapter treasurer and chapter president, who may designate a separate Wellness Fund financial officer if desired. The Wellness Committee and/or Wellness Fund financial officer shall report a full accounting of all income and expenditures monthly at minimum to the chapter treasurer and the executive board. So that concludes the changes that have been proposed and approved for amendment by the Executive Board. This does require a quorum vote from those of you that are present here with us today. But before we proceed to that, are there any questions or comments from anyone regarding these changes? All right, hearing none, this amendment comes as a resolution and motion from the Bylaws Committee as approved by the board. So it is a motion from a committee. It does not require a second, but it will require a vote of the chapter membership. So I will defer to Mr. President to preside over that.
All right, all those in favor of adopting these bylaws, I would ask you to say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bylaws to be adopted as written.
All right, and the bylaws, as they exist, do state that any amendments do take place or they're in force immediately upon approval. So those bylaws online will be updated with this language and reposted after the meeting, but everything that just passed is approved and takes place immediately. Thank you, Ryan.
Awesome, thank you. Just a couple quick things. Stephen, I think you want to add something real quick.
Yeah, going back to the Google listserv that we're creating, wanted to remind the PSAP directors to not only scrub your list with National Nena of active members, but a lot of agencies have had their email addresses changed to the .gov, for example. So with that, if you have active Nena members in your organization, they need to also go onto their profiles, update that email address so that they're not only receiving stuff from North Carolina, but they get the Nena, National Nena information on training and things like that as well. So it's a two-part process. If y'all could please help with that. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. And Melanie, I got your text, but I can't open the email. Is there additional update you want to put?
Yeah, I apologize for having to come back up here, but from my Apco report, Lewis Cheatham just forwarded an email that Greg Hauser just sent out at the direction of Colonel Johnson from the Highway Patrol on the TDMA upgrade. And today, July the 1st of 2025 is the deadline for upgrading TDMA on the Viper. And they are saying now that the manufacturing lead times are 10 to 15 months. And so we are less than 24 months out from that. So if you have not started that process, time's running out, so please get on board and get it started. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. All right, before I take a motion to adjourn and make one last comment, I just want to see if there's anything from the board that you guys would like to bring up. Ashley?
The only thing I have is to keep Nash County in your thoughts and prayers. They had a tornado come through earlier this week through the Dorchester and Red Oak area, and it was pretty devastating with the damage that was done there. I did reach out to the 911 director there, and he said luckily their facility as well as all of his staff members were not affected. So if we can just keep an eye out on them, and we have already reached out if they do need anything. That's
awesome. Thank you, Ashley. One other thing I would add, friend of mine, and I think a friend of many in the room, former supervisor with Iredell County, Bill Jeter, I ask you to keep him and his wife in your thoughts and prayers. His wife, Sarah, has been moved to hospice due to brain cancer. There is a Facebook group that you can join to show support for Bill. I've known Bill for many years, even when he was up in New York, but fantastic individual, and I know he's going through a lot right now, so if you guys could keep him in your thoughts and prayers, and those of you from Iredell County, if you do speak to him, if there's anything that we can do to support him and Sarah, please let us know. All right, before I take a motion to adjourn, anything from the floor that you would like to bring to the board? All right, I will take a motion to adjourn. Second? Second. All right, all in favor? All right, Mr. Kyle, I feel you are the food man and will give us directions on how to get there.
Sure, everybody's hungry. So today we're having lunch over at the High Point Theater. It's right across the street. So if you either go to the elevators here or you take the stairwell over here, go down one floor to the second floor, go out the main lobby doors of City Hall. There should be one of my employees out there in one of these polos. They'll direct you to the crosswalk, go across the street to the crosswalk. And then there'll be another employee that shows you where the entrance is, but it's right across the street. It's the next building over. There is not a forklift, but one of those boom raiser things. They're putting up a sign above the theater. So just be careful as you're going there. Be mindful that that boom is in place. So if you have any questions, anybody with a black polo that says City of High Point on it can help you out. Thank you.
Don't move quite yet, sorry. I thought I had won the lottery, but Shante just wanted me to read the winning numbers, I think, right? Is this the raffle? All right, read these numbers as winners, correct? Yes. All right, so if you have a green ticket for the school donation, the last three, 110. All right, redraw. I'm just kidding. Thank you, Chad. All right, the next winner, last three, is 108. 108. And the next one will be 109. 109. Awesome. Thank you. All right, before everybody takes off, if no one's opposed, I'd like to bless our lunch while we're all here together. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing us to gather here in beautiful High Point, North Carolina together. Lord, we ask you to keep your hands and protection over every telecommunicator and first responder across the state of North Carolina. We also ask you to put extra love into Nash County, not only to the first responders working there, for all the residents that were affected by the tornado. We also ask you to wrap your hands around Bill and Sarah and take Sarah home peacefully and give that family as much peace as possible. Lord, we ask you to bless this food to our body as we get to enjoy this fellowship together, and we ask you to keep everybody safe as they travel home. In your name we pray, amen. All right.